All
Oh,
right, great.
please.
Great to meet you as well. I hope you're doing well.
Sure, same here.
Perfect. So I was just thinking we could, just jump into the questions if that's all right with you. So before I ask the first question, could you just briefly introduce yourself and what you do and where you're from, just to get that out of the way?
Sure. I'm Vince Yokom. I'm with Waller County Economic Development Partnership. I'm the executive director, and our community is located in the greater Houston area. We are actually on the west side of Houston in an
Okay.
adjacent county to Harris County.
Okay, great. And obviously you have some Danish companies in your community. Can you talk a little bit about why you think that the Danish companies have chosen to be in your community?
I think probably the most important thing is that we really try to make everybody feel like they're part of our community right from the very
Mhm.
beginning. And
Yeah,
I know particularly it's a very particularly important for entities coming from overseas to make sure that they're a good fit for the community. And we've
yeah,
had just great success working with European companies in general because they do have a great sense of wanting to be a part of the community, contributing to the community, and we make them feel at home, I think, right from the beginning.
okay.
Um, Grundfos is our only one that's actually committed here,
Hmm.
Denmark, and we do have another company that has given us a verbal agreement so far. They are also from Denmark, so that'll be our second one. And
Cool.
we hear kind of the same thing: is that we're good to work with. We're open about trying to make the deals work, and if they don't work, that's great. Maybe there's another community better, and we're all for that too.
Yeah.
The main thing is that we've always worked toward making sure that everyone is a good fit and we can
Mhm.
meet the requirements for the companies.
Yeah, that's great. And if we talk a little bit more in general about the European companies you have had, or can you talk a little bit about, why European companies are important to your community?
Let's say, well, they're important to our community for a number of reasons. One, we work real hard to diversify our economy and diversify not only in the sense of industry, but in
Hmm.
the sense of the international makeup,
Yeah,
origins, where these companies from, origins. So we can now connect to the Danish economy, for example, or the German economy or the Italian economy. So that
yeah,
we look at diversity in multiple different ways, not only just industry, but making more of an eclectic community with European companies. And so
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, we've just been very open to working with companies.
right.
Um, and I think that they're seeing the benefit. One of the biggest things we worked hard on is letting European companies know that we're not overly regulated.
Hmm.
We had lots of conversations with folks from Italy, for example, who are talking about how regulated the Italian government is over businesses and in other countries as well. So our main message really is Waller County is very business friendly, and we prove it by not interfering in your business more than we need to.
Yeah, okay.
And that equates to a very fast process for getting the project started here as well.
Yeah. And where in Europe, what European countries, like what countries are the most in your community?
So we target primarily European countries,
Yeah,
but within Europe, I would say the Nordic region for sure. We're very strong in them.
right.
We follow an organization called transparency.org, and they rate countries in terms of perceived corruption and stuff. And so
Ah,
we have a very simple idea, very simple philosophy that if a company comes from a culture like that, they
hmm,
may also bring that with them. And
right.
so we pay very close attention to that. And Denmark is always the number one top country in terms of strong efforts for anti-corruption.
Hmm,
In the top 10, all the Nordic countries are in the top seven or
yeah,
eight or 10.
right.
They're all, so we know that the culture there is something that we would appreciate and want to have here as well. So we just do a lot of research. So the Nordic countries are an area we're really trying to focus on. We have relationships with Innovation Norway right now. We are
Wow.
working on getting a meeting with the Danish ambassador through Grundfos, working with Grundfos to do that and meet her. And
Yeah.
we're working very closely. That we have a meeting scheduled here soon with, I know this isn't Nordic area per se, with the Swiss business entity. We
Yeah.
work with Enterprise Ireland, Scotland, the British American Business Council, the German consulate here in the area, and the Italian Trade Agency. So we've been working hard over the last 2 years to develop these
Hmm.
relationships. And we've just come to find out these are the countries we really want to focus on, not
Yeah.
because they're necessarily the biggest economies in Europe. Germany obviously is big, and Italy is very big, and so forth. We look at the quality of the countries as
Mm,
much as we do the quality of the companies. And I
yeah.
think that that's helped us do a lot of good research and become a little more focused on how we want to direct our investment procurement agency
Yeah.
efforts. So yeah.
That sounds very interesting. And let's say there's a European company that wants to, considers moving to your community or settling in your community. What resources are available for these companies? How will you help them? As
Yeah, well, we'd help them just like we would any other company, really. I mean, we're always about, as I just mentioned a while ago, if it's a really good company, we'll go a long way in probably offering them the strongest incentives we can possibly offer. I think
Mhm.
you also have to consider the fact our community is it's still fairly rural, so we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of taxing entities or a large tax burden. So
Okay.
the OpEx of a company is also reduced substantially by being out here, but yet we have access to the fourth largest city in the United States. So
Yeah.
proximity to a great workforce. The Texas in general has an incredible workforce grant program, so we can get tons of money to help train. So when you're coming into a new area, obviously they're not going to know about all the
Yeah.
employees and work quality and things of that nature. We can work with them for that. So we help through that. Incentives, lower cost of doing business, just really a great sense of community. We really do
Mhm.
create that within it, even with our industrial and our corporate citizens, to let them
Yeah.
know we feel they're just as much a part of the community as anything else. And but those offers, I mean, the incentives and just helping them get things done. We work with them to understand the taxing structures. Any new company coming in, especially from European, where it's more federal driven and downward. Here, it's scattered right all through it.
Exactly. Yeah.
To help them understand that, I think so we provide those services in addition to just basically making sure they get if they're looking for incentives, put them in touch with contractors, fast permitting processes. And our reputation speaks for itself. If you look at our international, and we're again keeping in mind we're only 62,000 people in the county proper, and
Yeah.
yet we have Pepperell Fuchs, Vol, and MAN from Germany. We have
Mm.
Burkhardt Compression from Switzerland. We have Grundfos, obviously one of the top countries if not the top country in Denmark. And we have our second company from Denmark. We are currently in negotiations with companies from India and Turkey.
Wow.
So we're getting more and more broad about that. Turkey, we like. We see that they're trying to make some changes over there. They want to become the industrial powerhouse of Europe. So we feel like they'll be great partners in the long run. There's certainly some political things that still have to work themselves out, but as
Yeah.
that continues to progress, we're still very open to working with companies from Turkey as well. So a big variety of different countries. Even though our focus is Europe, India is still there as
Hmm.
also. We're also working with companies from Korea. So
Wow. Interesting.
basically, we focus on U.S. allies, NATO countries, things where we feel like there's a great relationship already. We won't
Yeah.
create a lot of stress by forcing a different country in, for example, and
Mhm.
so forth. And to facilitate this, we're also part of Port Houston.
Mhm.
We're actually part of their foreign trade zone, or I think they say in Europe, free trade zone
Okay. Yeah.
here in the area. We're only the second county in the area to be a part of that. So we're very
Mm.
progressive in trying to understand how European companies may want to maintain their supply chain. So you'll have the ability to quickly set up FTZs here in the area as well. So a lot of thoughts gone into how we want to proceed with our foreign direct investment program. I think it's starting to pay off quite a bit.
Yeah. Cool. So if we look at the sectors, what are the three main sectors that drives your community?
Right now, the two big ones are
Yeah.
manufacturing and logistics.
Okay.
We have a very strong logistics community, and we're really focusing now on rebuilding the manufacturing portion of it. We've had a good base for years, but we've started going more towards distribution in terms of our total square foot that's under some sort of industrial use. And
Hmm.
now we're trying to refocus on manufacturing. But those have largely been the two primarily ones. We also
Okay.
have we have an airport here, so aviation could also be a very strong uh, area for us to focus on, and we do focus on that as well. So those are the three big ones that we probably focus on. Yeah,
Yeah. Cool. So what's the most important accelerator in your community, if you have any, of course?
we don't really have. We do have one. It's
Okay.
it's called G Tech. It was started from a gentleman from Scotland, and he sets it up where any company looking to come in and they just want to put like an advanced team, like a marketing team
Yeah.
he leases out very small areas, and at one time he had companies there from 10 different countries. So
Wow.
he's very much into the international connections as well.
Right.
That's an incubator as it sits right now. We're working on actually expanding that facility he is, and we're also working on finding a location to create a tech
Hmm.
incubator so that
Hmm.
we can, that's the one area we want to develop is the tech sector, software development, app development, R&D, things like that. We've just never had the opportunity, but we've recently had a relationship with a business owner that might be willing to open up their facility. So we're working that direction right now. So we have one small one, and we did just put together, one of our developers put together a kind of a business park
Hmm.
with small units, 7,000 square feet to 31,000 square feet.
Wow. Yeah.
So a company can come into the area and not really have to invest a lot of money in rent area, or just need a smaller space. We
Hmm.
have these things set up right now for them. And
Okay.
the tech incubator is a work in progress, but from the industrial manufacturing R&D side of it, we do have quite a bit of facilities here that companies can take advantage of.
Okay. Nice. And are there any places where manufacturing or manufacturing centers where Nordic companies or investors can network with people or like-minded people? Do you have anything of that?
Well, I would say pretty much our whole community is that way right now.
Okay.
Um, like I said, we've been focused on foreign direct investment since 2020. So
Hmm.
for the past 3 years, we've been developing this program, and now that COVID's behind us, we're seeing this getting accelerated. So
Yeah.
the way we're approaching that right now is that we're building these relationships with the trade agencies, professional business organizations that represent different countries, and the consulates that we have in the area, which we have well over 130 or 140 consulates here in the Houston
Wow.
region.
That's a lot.
It's really easy to establish those relationships. So in terms of getting together, our organization, there's plenty of business organizations that
Mhm.
would welcome Nordic countries and companies from Nordic countries. Now, as far as a particular facility and such, there's not like one place everybody can go to. It really is spread out through our entire community,
Cool.
driven by our organization. We're the lead economic development organization, or in Europe, investment what's it, IPA, that
Hmm.
they in Europe. So we would be that group here. So we actually are kind of that way. We are the mechanism for folks to get together and kind of talk about certain things, plan for the future, all those sort of good stuff that companies and businesses might want to get involved in.
Cool. So if we change the subject a little bit, what makes a site selection process successful in your opinion and from your expertise?
The number one thing for me is just to make sure it has a good fit,
Yeah.
not to try to make something fit just because you're desperate to land a project, but truly take time to understand the company, their
Hmm.
needs, to understand if we are the best fit for it. And if we're not, we can generally make suggestions for them to look in other communities, other areas, at least in the Texas area. I'm not familiar with every state in the country, obviously, but
Yeah.
we do know Texas really well. And so that's the number one thing to me. Look at the fit, make sure it works, make sure everybody gets happy, and truly understand what the needs of the company are. That's, to me, makes the most successful thing. Other than that, there's just the assets, right? If you have the workforce available, you have the infrastructure available, those two are the key things as well. After you, and that part, that's determining the fit. Do we have the workforce that you need,
Yeah.
right? So to
Exactly.
me, it's all about understanding the company's needs and trying to meet those. Yep.
Hmm.
Pretty
Cool.
simple. Yep.
Yeah. So the last question we have, is that could you give the three biggest advice of what you would say to Nordic investors if they want to settle in your region or in the United States in general? What are the three pieces of advice you want to give them?
Well, the first piece of advice would be definitely come to Waller County, because we are
Yeah.
definitely aggressive when it comes to landing companies, and we really love the Nordic area.
Yeah.
I would invite you to go out to that website, transparency.org, and you'll see they've ranked Denmark's one, Finland's number two, and they're tied with New Zealand. Then I think I can't remember if it's Norway after that, the
Uh-huh.
Netherlands are in there, then Sweden's down there. So it's the top guys. So the first piece of advice is take a hard look at us. We're very friendly towards European companies. We've proven that.
Hmm.
Continue to build a strong European. Number one, I think Texas, by and large, represents an incredible opportunity. We're the ninth largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
Uh, Texas has proven itself to be very aggressive in attracting the right companies. So Texas is, as you look at Texas and you look in Waller County, Houston region, and Dallas is a great area, San Antonio, all those places are wonderful. But I think you'll find a lower cost of business here and a much more eclectic community. We're one of the most, Harris County next to us is probably one of the most diverse counties in the
Okay.
entire state of
Wow.
Texas. So depending on what it really just boils down to what the focus of the investors would be. What are they going to be looking for? But I think they'll find pretty much everything they need in the Houston, Waller County region, no problem.
Yeah, cool. So is there anything I haven't asked about, or is there anything you want to add? Otherwise, that's it for us, I guess. Is there anything you want to add,
Well,
or?
I'd like to know how many companies you got lined up from the Nordic region to come visit Waller County. I mean, we have a partnership with TBIC. Let's talk about getting some of those folks over here.
Yeah, maybe she'll knows that.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and you are also having the European trade or the European representation at the TBIC office in Berlin. And I would also see, and that I actually set aside a little longer for the interview with you, because I also would like to see how, because again, I have worked with the Trade Commission of Denmark in Atlanta, and obviously when you have one company, it grows from there. A Danish company would like to establish themselves also where other fellow countrymen are located. So I definitely would like to see how we can work with you on getting access to more of these European or Nordic companies, and especially from Denmark. But I think it's a super interesting approach you have, that you're actually looking at the transparency in website to see what countries are actually interesting, because that is a very interesting approach, and I really like that. That it's a value just not of the company but also of the country. So that's a very interesting approach.
I can tell you that as I was just saying a while ago, we have a verbal commitment from our second Danish company right now.
Yeah.
And when we mentioned that Grundfos was here, their eyes lit up.
Yeah, I say what?
That tells you the power of Grundfos, at least in Denmark, right? And yeah, we leverage that a lot. We tell all of our Danish prospects, "Hey, we're home to Grundfos,"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and if we land the second one here, then I think we'll have enough to start leveraging that even more. So I'm excited about Denmark. I really like them. Every country, every person we've met from there has just been wonderful to work with. We're really high on them, absolutely, and all Nordic countries. Like I said, we work with Innovation Norway right now.
Yeah.
We're working on other relationships with the Swedish government. We're trying to work with the Danish. We actually want to have a meeting set up with the Danish Consul General here. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. That is, and especially also because you have Grundfos, I think could be something that could be investigated for some of the other technologies within the water sector from Denmark, because they are very closely clustered together, the Danish water technology sector. So I think that could be something that could be explored. So yeah.
We're open to all that. Open to all that. We're just waiting for TBIC to bring us some more leads.
Exactly. Have you scheduled any of the visits with TBIC in the fall to Europe? Have you signed up for any of those?
No, we have a very small budget. It's our problem. That's why I was excited when Matt offered me an invitation to attend the conference, because we don't really have the money to do a lot of stuff. However, having said that, I am going to be in Ireland on vacation the last part of August
Okay, yeah,
through the first week of September.
yeah,
And I was going to try to see if I could arrange time to fly over and at least see the office over there in Berlin. And
Yeah.
that's, so I'm trying to see if I can actually do that in my time schedule while I'm in Ireland.
yeah.
But no, I'm not actually attended any other things led by
Okay.
TBS. No.
Yeah, because I think that's obviously also where you will gain the sort of the biggest. That's what I hear from some of the other members. The trips going to Europe is really that's where you have the absolute advantage of the TBIC membership, because of course I'm not selling you the TBIC. You have bought into that idea, but TBIC is a little different than some of the other, you can say, marketing folks you can engage with for lead generation. So yeah, but I would love to discuss with you in a different call as well, and if we can set that up also with Matt to see how we can actually leverage your European office representation. I think that could be a good idea. And do you plan on going on for instance to WEFTEC in Chicago in October, or any of the national trade shows that is taking place in the United States? So the next month or early next year?
Well, we'll need to get a list of those things. Like I said, we do have a request in to increase our budget.
Hmm.
If we get a budget increase, we'll have money to actually do some of those things.
Yeah.
So Select USA would be the first thing we'd probably go to
Yeah.
and set up there in DC. That would, because it's a little bit cheaper because it's obviously still in the States. Uh,
Yeah.
but I've seen, all the TBIC trips I see, they look like they're wonderful. Obviously, going to the Hanover Messe, that would
Yeah.
be a big thing to go to and get me to go to Germany. I'm still wanting to drive on the Nuremberg Ring one day. So, I'm a big Formula One fan, so.
We probably cannot arrange that. No. No.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so all that to say is that this is our focus now. I've hired some new staff. I now have the time to go and do some of these things, which will be my job.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. So when we get more money, we'll likely take advantage of a couple of those opportunities.
How are you funded as is right now?
We have a contract with the county.
Yeah.
That's a part of our funds. So Waller County pays us
Hmm.
to provide economic development services, or an IPA. And then the other half or other portion of we sell memberships. So businesses that are interested in transactions, very much like TBIC structure, I imagine. We have businesses that are partners who are in banking, real estate, property development, real estate development, construction, all of those things that make a project work. A lot
Yeah.
of those are member core, and also
Okay.
some of the other cities and communities. So we're partially funded through the membership structure and then through our county contract.
Yeah.
Contract currently is for 150 a year. We're trying to double that to 300. And the extra money is, a lot of that's targeted to our foreign direct investment thing. And this is some things that TBIC can help with. I mean, we want some of our material translated, from English to German to Italian, Danish, all these. We want that y'all can help with that. That can save us a little bit of money because we're already buying in little of your time. We don't really use the time with y'all. We probably should. But if y'all can do things like that, I mean, that would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's where we're heading to. So some of that can save us some of that money, then we can put that on something else. So
Let's actually need to let me ask Matthias about that with the translation service, because obviously we're not a sort of a translation agency, but obviously we do marketing, translations and communications all day long. So why not? That could actually be a good idea. So yeah, I would definitely discuss this with him. So yeah.
and whatever y'all can't do, we can always pay for that here. But I'd rather, I've got to leverage as much as I can from the money I'm currently spending. So
Exactly, exactly. So awesome. Yeah, and if you decide on going to Berlin throughout your I hate that you have to use your vacation in Ireland to do so, but on the other hand, when you already have crossed the pond, then you might as well take a little bit of a sidestep and go to Berlin. Then definitely let me know, and I would see if I could potentially join you in Berlin and meet you in person. So absolutely, that could be super relevant.
as soon as we
So
get closer to that, we'll definitely let Matt know, and
yeah,
then maybe it'll work out.
yeah. Perfect. Awesome.
Great.
Good. But I sincerely appreciate your time, and I'm so sorry that we are not getting to meet each other here in Atlanta, and weather and canceled flight had to interrupt our meetings, but that's how thing goes. So
Well, we'll get there. We'll get together at some point soon, I hope.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. All right. Okay, you take care and you
Yes.
have a
Take
beautiful
care.
day.
You too. Thank you. It's nice meeting you both.
Okay, nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.